Shalakaya Chatsurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Nama Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Disatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're continuing with the presentation from this Harinam Cintamani. And this evening we're going to speak about Namabas. Right? We explained this morning that there were 3 levels in chanting the holy name: Namaparad, Namabas, and Shuddhanam. Nam aparad meaning offensive chanting. We're chanting every morning the 10 offenses. And now we're hearing that there's something higher than 10 offenses, and this is called Nam Abas, where one is making an effort to avoid the offenses. It's important for us to understand that if we are chanting with the intention of trying to improve ourselves materially, then this is not pure chanting. And this is also not Namabas, but this is Nam Aparat, to maintain material attachment. Right? So we do have to be careful to avoid these 10 offenses. And particularly we speak about inattention, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur has described that inattention is the seed of all offenses. So we want to chant with full attention. So we appreciated last night the presentation by Paramarupa Prabhu about how we could try to increase our attention. It's always an ongoing battle to control the mind, to fix the mind with full attention on the holy name. So Namabas is the shadow of the whole. All right, so we're going to go ahead here. You can see different methods in which we chant the holy name, different people all trying to chant the holy name. This is good. People are trying to chant the holy name, different ways. We see different religious traditions, they all give some importance to chanting. The Christians have their rosary, and they will chant Hail Marys. In Buddhism, they also have their beads, and they're chanting. And then we have also the Muslim people, Islamic people, you will see they also carry a bead with them. They're chanting. In the Middle East, you can see the Arab people there. The Arabs carry their beads with them and they're always chanting. So it's there in all different religious traditions. People appreciate that in this age, the meditation on the sound vibration is powerful. So it's important for us in chanting, you don't want to try to do silent chanting. Silent chanting within the mind is something for very advanced people. But it's not an easy thing. Srila Prabhupada, we never heard Srila Prabhupada doing silent chanting. Rather, we can hear Prabhupada's recording of the holy name. All right, so Abbas. What is the meaning of this Abbas? We show here a dull image caused by obstructions, the clouds obstructing the moon. A couple of nights ago we had the Sarat Purnima. Did you look at the full moon? It's the most beautiful of all the moons in the year. Lord Krishna dances Rasa Lila on the night of the Sarat Purnima. Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So he chooses the most beautiful women in the creation, the young gopis of Braja, and he chooses the most beautiful place, which is Vrindavan, and he chooses the most beautiful time of the year, the Sharat season. And on that particular night, Lord Krishna danced Rasa Lila. But here you can see the moon is obstructed. So that is Abbas. Nam Abbas. We're talking now about the obstruction to the holy name. And the name can be obstructed by impurities. Of course, we create the obstructions. We create the impurities. The name itself is always pure. But the effect is weak because of obstruction. Here you can see as the brilliance of the sun extinguishes the darkness, the holy name extinguishes the darkness of illusion, Maya. However, clouds, can you read that for me? However, clouds may cover the sun from the viewer. So only a portion of the light is perceived. Right? So we're seeing that regularly here. In the same way, when ignorance is, what is it? When ignorance, ajnana, material tendencies, anarthas, and
prominent in the living entities,
or when they are prominent in the living entity, they obstruct the
sun of the holy name,
the sun of the holy name, so that the devotee experiences only a portion of the function,
full effect of the name.
The full effect of the name. Thank you. So though one may speak of the holy name being covered by the clouds of anarthas, in reality the sun of the holy name can never be covered. Rather, the senses of the materially conditioned individual are covered. You can see the couple in the bottom right picture. They're covered, right? So they cannot perceive the actual situation. They're covered. So the sun of the holy name can never be covered, but we are covered, and we're not able to perceive the actual holy name. So that is the nature of Namabhas. For this reason, in some cases, the holy name will appear in full force in the heart of the chanter. But in other cases, due to abundance of ignorance and anarthas, the effects of the name on the chanter will be minimal. So note the problem. The heart, our hearts are not pure due to the abundance of ignorance and anarthas. So we're going to speak about these things. These two obstructions, ignorance, like a fog, and anarthas are compared to clouds. So you get these two obstructions to the holy name. There's ignorance, and here you can see what we mean when we speak about ignorance. Ignorance, first of all, the position of the name of the Lord. We're thinking the name of the Lord to be something material. We're not appreciating the transcendental nature of the holy name, but we take it to be something material. And then another type of ignorance is ignorance about the position of Krishna. Lord Krishna we consider to be the Supreme Lord, the Swayam Bhagavan. But if we think that Krishna and all the other devas, Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, so on, there are 33 crore devas, and if we think, well, they're all the same, they're all one, ultimately there's only the oneness, the Brahman, then this is another kind of ignorance. Ignorance about the position of Lord Krishna. And then another kind of ignorance is in relation to the position of the jiva, the living entities. That if we think of the living entities as being equal to the Supreme Lord, then this is another ignorance. We have no understanding about the position of the Supreme. Of course, some people, they will say, well, we're in ignorance just now, but when we become liberated, then we will become God. And this is a common presentation of the Mayavadis, that ultimately we're all God. And so the ignorance about the position of the jiva. And then another kind of ignorance is, what is the goal? The goal of life. People are thinking simply enjoy the material world, make money, be happy. Of course, if money could make you happy, there'd be a lot more happier people. But we know money doesn't make everyone happy. People want to enjoy, and that's not wrong. But the problem is they try to enjoy in the wrong places, in the wrong ways. There is enjoyment, but we have to find the enjoyment on the transcendental platform in terms of our spiritual identity, not our physical identity. So people are in ignorance. What is the goal? On a higher level, people think about liberation. Just simply get out from the wheel of birth and death. That will be the best thing. Get free of birth and death. So you can see here these different kinds of ignorance which are keeping us all here in the material world. Real knowledge then is to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord and the living entity as his eternal servant, both in this world and in the spiritual world. The living entity is always the servant. And the material world is also the creation of the Lord. It is meant for his enjoyment. We're meant to learn how to use this creation for his pleasure. So coming out of ignorance is important for us to take away the clouds, to take away the, what was it, the fog. The ignorance was compared to fog. And when the sun comes out in the morning, then the fog is removed. Just like if you're in Mayapur, maybe at the time of Gaur Purnima, early in the morning, there will be some fog coming off the Ganga. the mist coming off the Ganga. But as soon as the sun comes out, then the fog is all removed. The fog just disappears. In the presence of the sun, the fog cannot remain. So similarly, in the presence of the pure holy name, the Son of the holy name, ignorance cannot remain. We do have to, however, cultivate that knowledge. As we spoke this morning, Sambandha Gyan is important, therefore, for us. It provides a good basis for us to chant the holy name. So we said ignorance was like fog, and anarthas are like clouds. And you can see here, we have shown different kinds of anarthas. There are basically three main anarthas. We have the desire for enjoyment, the weakness of heart, and the offenses or aparad. Weakness of heart, hridaya durboyam, and desire for enjoyment. So, how do we enjoy? How to enjoy on this planet, in this life? We think about enjoying, but some other people, they're thinking about enjoying in the future, and for them, enjoyment could be to go to heaven, to enjoy on the heavenly planets. On the heavenly planets, they have Soma Ras, and everyone, all the living entities, the women there are all so beautiful. They have a very long life, and they have much greater intelligence. So hearing about the heavenly planets, many people are attracted, and they will perform some austerities, they will do different activities to try to go to the heavenly planets for enjoyment. Some people want to go further than the heavenly planets, and they think about liberation, to enter into the Brahmajyoti, into the oneness. They're thinking that will be the ultimate enjoyment. And other people, they think about yoga siddhis. There are 8 different siddhis of perfection in yoga, like becoming smaller than the smallest and heavier than the heaviest. Prapti siddhi, being able to acquire things from a faraway place. Srila Prabhupada tells when he was a young man or a young boy, he met one man who asked him, "What is your favorite fruit?" And somehow it was said, "Pomegranate." So the man said, "Oh, you like pomegranate? They have very nice pomegranates in Kabul." And so the man sat in meditation, and a moment later, he produced this wonderful pomegranate from Kabul. So some people have these kind of yoga siddhis. Some other people, they can go into the water of the Ganga at Hardwar, and they can come up at Calcutta. They can go through the water of the Ganga and come out at different places. The yoga siddhis, yoga powers, it is enjoyment for some people. But Prabhupada said, yogi may be able to walk across water with great endeavor. After many lifetimes, he may acquire the power. He can walk over water. But for 5 rupees, you can take the boat over. So the value of his yoga siddhi is 5 rupees. This way people are foolish when they think about enjoyment, because enjoyment on different levels will always be temporary and limited. Another anartha is this weakness of heart. Also, that is asat Krishna, desire for enjoyment, asat Krishna. And then the weakness of heart, hridaya durboyam. Weakness of heart comes up in these different kinds of desires, like greed. We don't have enough. Made $1 million, but it's not enough. You want more. You want to make more. Some people are very envious of others. Someone may be very successful, they make they get a big position, or somehow they're doing better than we are, and we will envy them. And then people want fame. They would like to be very famous, to get recognition. And that can also come even in the way of devotional service. These different things can manifest there. People want to be famous as big devotee. I was in Hong Kong in our temple one time, and there was one movie actress came from India with her husband, and she was visiting the temple. And she prayed, she asked Tamal Krishna Goswami, she said, please bless me that I can be famous. Yeah, and we are laughing, but she was deadly serious, you know. She really wanted this. So another weakness of heart, cheating. The cheating propensity is very common. How people will cheat. There's so much cheating goes on everywhere, especially nowadays with digital devices. You can be cheated. But there, one devotee was telling me they were preparing to take the bar exam to become a registered lawyer in the USA. And they told me how before the bar exam, they have to give specimens of their writing, because when the exams come, people often have someone else take the exam and answer the questions for them. So they want to check your writing to make sure it's really your writing. So cheating is going on at all levels, everywhere. Another kind of cheating, of course, is the impersonalists who want to become God. And then the third kind of anartha, aparad. And there are different aparads which we all have to be aware of. There are offenses in chanting the holy name. As we said, 10 offenses in chanting the holy name. And then I added that of all offenses, the one more offense, you could say the 11th, inattention while chanting. And that's the seed of offenses. So we have to be careful to avoid offenses. There are offenses in deity worship. Someone who's doing deity worship, they have to be very careful to avoid offense. And certainly they have to chant the holy name. Chanting the holy name will protect them from offenses in their deity worship. But sometimes people think they just worship the deity and they don't like to chant the holy name. As we heard, japa is difficult for people. They'd rather do kirtan. And some people, especially South Indian people, they like deity worship. They have, if you go to South India or in Malaysia also, we have a community of South Indian people. And sometimes I would do door-to-door Sankirtan, and it was so wonderful to see the altars which they have in their homes. Almost every home would have a very nice altar. They like very much to have an altar and to worship the deity. But in worshipping the deity and bringing the deity to your home, there are offenses. You have to be very cautious. And to overcome these offenses, there is the chanting of the holy name. It can nullify offenses in deity worship. But offenses, there are offenses in chanting the holy name. So you have to be careful. Then there are offenses in relation to devotees. Vaishnav aparad. Vaishnav aparad, generally it means criticizing a devotee based on things like their birth or their social position, or maybe it may be their activities before becoming a devotee, or it may be some trace of sinful activity which they had somehow not been able to give up after becoming a devotee, and we may criticize them for that. So these are offenses in worship and in dealing with devotees. An offense against the devotee, that is the mad elephant offense, hatimata. And to overcome the mad elephant offense, we have to get the forgiveness of the devotee. In worshipping the deity, we can get forgiveness by chanting the holy name. But if we offend the devotee, we have to get that forgiveness from the devotee. So we have to be very careful in dealing with devotees. And there are also offenses against other living entities. For example, Srimad Bhagavatam describes there are hells for people who kill insects. It's something we have to be careful of. You start killing a lot of insects, you can get reactions for these things. Anyway, we want you to understand the different kinds of anarthas which are there. The three general anarthas, aparad, then hridaya durbhoyam, and asat trishna, the desire for enjoyment. So these three different kinds of anarthas, they're all like clouds which cover the holy name. We want to chant the holy name purely, but we're troubled by ignorance and anarthas. So here you can see the diagrammatic presentation of the process which we have to follow. So if we can chant at namabhas, means we're trying to chant the holy name. We're taking care to avoid offenses. Now some people, they do chant, but they're chanting, they're thinking they'll get material enjoyment or they want liberation. This is not pure chanting, this is not namabhas, this is nam aparad. If within our mind we're maintaining material desires for sense gratification, that is not chanting at the level of namabhas. It is nam aparad. Nam aparad is not going to give us any good result, but it may bring the mercy of a devotee. That you may be fortunate that another devotee may come and he may give us instruction and point out we have to give up these material desires. And if we hear nicely and we have faith, then we will take it seriously and we can give up the material desires and begin to chant at the level of namabhas. So you can see the block diagram begins from the top, namabhas, and then next, sambandha gyan. We do have to have good knowledge. We have to understand the importance of the Lord, one Supreme Lord, and all others are His servants. And the living entity is eternally the servant. So with that knowledge, then comes Bhakti Abhidaya. Abhidaya, we said, is the process of bhakti, the activities. Particularly, hearing and chanting, serving, worshipping, offering prayers, these things. This is all Bhakti Abhidaya. Right? After this class, we will do Damodar Astikam. That is also another opportunity for Abhidaya, offering prayers to the Lord. So, from Bhakti Abhidaya, with nice service attitude, with the humble mood of service, we can come to the level of chanting the pure name, Shuddhanam. And if we chant the pure name of the Lord, then we can go on quickly to get prema, which is prayojana, the goal of life. So in this way, we're showing the different stages which we have to go through from namabhas. Namabhas, where most of us, we are chanting at this level at namabhas, and we want to come to the higher level. So, here we show the effects. Now, namabhas itself is glorified. I'll be showing you in a few minutes, the good things about namabhas, chanting at the level of namabhas. Here we mention punya, that means pious activity. You get free from disease, and you attain dharma, artha, kama. It all comes about just by chanting at namabhas. This is the effect of our chanting. Although it's not the pure holy name, it's not without benefit, and the benefit is there. It can free us from disease, and it can help us to achieve material things. Even liberation is possible. And if we chant more, by chanting at namabhas, we go on chanting at namabhas, regularly chanting, we will develop faith. And that faith will give us the Shuddhanam. We will chant the pure name. Right? So we can see here the different effects of chanting the holy name at namabhas. And then different types of namabhas. One is chanting without faith. And you can see in the diagram, the picture is there. You will recognize Ajamila, the sinful man who's dying, and the Yamadutas have come to arrest him, but the Vishnu Dutas have also come. Now Ajamila is an example of someone who chanted without faith. He didn't know he was chanting. But there was no offense, right? Some people, they're offensive, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, Daksha, one of the sons of Brahma. He was offensive. Ajamila, however, was never offensive. He was a sense gratifier. He was a sinful, materialistic person, but he was never offensive. And somehow he had the good fortune to give his son the name of the Lord, Narayan. And because he was calling the name of his son regularly, he got the benefit of chanting the holy name at namabhas. And that took away the reactions of his sinful activities. Of course, he had to go on from there. After the encounter with the Yamadutas, then Ajamila became very serious. And he left the home. He went off to Hardwar. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us he actually went to Hardwar, and he stayed in a Vishnu temple. And there he chanted the holy name, and Bhagavatam said he gave up his body on the bank of the Ganga. So and his chanting became Shuddha Nam. From Namabhas, he went on to chant the pure name. So in the beginning, he had no faith. But his faith developed when he saw the Yamadutas and he heard the discussion between the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas. And then the bottom picture shows devotees, our own ISKCON devotees doing Harinam. They're also chanting with faith. They have faith and they're chanting. So someone chants without faith, they get good results. So what kind of result will you get if you chant with faith? You get a much better result because you have faith in the holy name. If even people without faith could get a good result, then certainly the devotees who chant with faith will get a very good result. We have to understand the importance of the chanting. Here we're showing 4 different kinds of chanting without faith. Different kinds of people. We mentioned about Ajamila. The example of Ajamila is in the first category, Sanketya. Chanting while referring to someone like a son. Right? You may have a son. Before I became a devotee, I can tell you, one friend had a pony, she called it Govinda. And another friend called his cat Krishna. Yeah. So, the holy name, they were chanting the holy name. These are examples of Sanketya, some kind of chanting of the Lord's name without faith. But it brings some result. Then another kind of chanting is called parihashya. And it may be jokingly, but with affection, not with criticism. Now, actually sometimes it mentions Jarasandha as an example of he chanted Krishna's name jokingly. Jarasandha, of course, he was fighting Krishna many times. He attacked Mathura. And he also chanted the holy name jokingly. And then Stoba. Stoba is the example of chanting Stoba is actually Sishupala. Sishupal, he would chant the name of Krishna, but in a very deriding manner. In a very negative way, he would say the Krishna, oh, Krishna, very, very nasty way. And so that is an example of chanting the name in Stoba. Here we mention the chanting the name in order to provide proper meter during a discourse or song. So that's another special way. And then finally, Hela. Chanting the name of the Lord is uttered without attention or even with derision, not giving it proper respect, without attention. So these 4 different kinds of chanting are done without any faith. But they get benefit. There's results from this because they chanted the name. We will explain more. Here's a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 15. A person, this is first of all, chanting in unpredictable circumstances. A person who chants the name of the Lord while falling from a cliff. We hope you can chant the name of the Lord if you fall from a cliff. I remember, those of you who've been to Tirupati, you go up the hill, up the mountain, and it's quite a dangerous ride up there, Now, of course, they've widened the roads over the years. The road has become much safer. But initially, it was quite dangerous. And sometimes the bus would go over the side. But they said when the bus was going down the cliff, everyone would chant, Govinda! They were all in the bus going to death, but they all chanted the holy name. So they all got liberated. So you fall from a cliff, or you stumble on the road, you receive injury to the body, you may be bitten by snakes, tormented with fever, or being attacked with sticks, but you will not suffer hellish punishment. So many different unfavorable circumstances, and if you can chant the holy name in these kind of unfavorable circumstances, it's certainly very beneficial, very helpful. We do want to develop that nature that in everything, just the holy name appears on our tongue in every situation. Oh Krishna. So here we mention some of the benefit of chanting. Chanting at Namabas is considered the chief of pious activities, because by the accumulation of Namabas activity, one eventually gains faith to accept devotional service properly. This is one of the powerful benefits of chanting at Namabas. Of course, not that we want to be satisfied to chant at Namabas, but we want to point out to you how chanting at Namabas is beneficial, so that we can progress, we can go on to chant better on a higher level. Therefore, it is described as the chief of all pious activities. Other activities, giving charity, going to holy places, performing austerity and so on, these don't have the same potency as chanting the holy name. Chanting the holy name has the greatest benefit for everyone. Here we say Namabas is considered higher than the activities of yoga, sacrifice, varnashram rules, austerities, etc., because it will lead to the path of pure bhakti. So this way we understand the benefit of Namabas. It's going to help us to go on to the real perfection of life, the real goal of our chanting. Now, chanting with faith, in other words, Shraddha Nam Abbas. Chanting with faith. The faith may be weak. Weak faith or no faith leads to faith. And Shuddhanam through Guru. So, in the beginning, the faith is weak. But if we do the chanting, by chanting, we will develop more faith. And that faith will help us to go on to come to chant the pure holy name, provided we also take the help, the guidance, and the instructions from the spiritual teachers. People who are chanting with false faith, they are aparadis. They have a desire for material enjoyment and liberation. They may be chanting. They're chanting. I'm chanting. But if we maintain our chanting just simply with that desire to get material enjoyment or even liberation, then this is not namabhas. That is aparada, offensive chanting. So what is the remedy for these things? The remedy, first of all, take shelter of the spiritual teachers. From the spiritual teachers, you can learn sambandha gyan, the knowledge about the Lord, His position, and the relationship with the living entities and the material energy. Right? That's the sambandha gyan. That knowledge brings us out of ignorance and then instructs in the chanting, the abhidaya, the chanting. That we have to do the chanting in the proper mood, as we were hearing. We have to develop some taste, give proper attention. You chant with the mobile phone in one hand and the bead bag in the other hand, it's not very good. If we chant in front of the television or the computer, it's not very good. People often chant when they're driving. Well, you can also chant when you're driving, yes, but you don't want to be chanting on your beads. And this shouldn't be the only time that you chant. Some people, they do all their japa sitting behind the car wheel, going to work, going here, going there. So you do need to do some chanting where you simply concentrate on the holy name. And when we chant, there has to be sound. We have to move our tongue, lips. We have to hear the holy name. Prabhupada said, the louder you chant, the more powerful it becomes. So, Srila Prabhupada was instructing us in all of these things. He liked to see us chant properly. Just like he would tell us, son, he would say, sit properly, right? You can hear that often, Prabhupada, like, sit properly. You know, he had to instruct us in so many things. But these instructions, they lead to Shuddhanam, brings us to the holy name, to chant the holy name purely. Somebody chants one time, somebody chants constantly, and someone else, just by seeing him, other people are inspired to chant. So there are different levels of devotees. And they may all be chanting the holy name, and they may all be chanting the Shuddhanam. Some may be doing bhakti at the level of sadhana bhakti. Some are doing bhakti at the level of bhava, and some are at the level of prema. They can all be chanting the Shuddhanam. It doesn't mean that just because we're chanting Shuddhanam that we have to all be on the level of prema bhakti. You may be doing sadhana bhakti. You can be chanting the pure name. But the pure name does also give us the goal of the chanting, which is to develop love for Krishna. So this is the idea. We want you to understand the nature of namabhas. Right? I just have 10 minutes left. If there's some questions or comments on this, we can ask. We can hear from you.
Maharaj, I have a question. You were saying Ajamila, he was chanting without offense, but one of the offense was chanting while still maintaining the material attachment. So Ajamila, he was a karmi, like materialistic person. How he could be chanting without material attachment, without any offenses?
Well, I said...
translate. 所以我的问题就是，马哈日是讲的这个阿伽米拉的例子，阿伽米拉他说他是没有冒犯的念诵，但是念诵圣名的10个冒犯之一就是念诵仍然维系物质的依附，所以阿伽米拉他作为一个物质主义者，一个 karmi， 他怎么能在念诵的时候没有任何物质的这种依附呢？
I said Ajamil is chanting at the level of Namabas. He wasn't chanting the pure name, right? He's chanting at Namabas. So he's not committing any real offense. You say, well, he's maintaining material attachment. Yeah, material attachment, yeah, you could say like that, but generally the acharyas all tell us that Ajamil chanted at Namabas. And because his chanting was at the level of Namabas, when he chanted the name of his son, there was no offense. Ajamila did not think he's chanting the name of the Lord. He simply called his son. His son happened to have the name of the Lord. Some people say that some Vaishnavas had come to the home of Ajamila and they saw his wife was pregnant. And they told him, when your child is born, give your child the name Narayan. Somehow, somewhere he got the instruction, he got some mercy to give his son that name. And because he was calling that name, he never thought, oh, this is the name of the Lord. He was calling his son. His intention was to call the son. There was no misuse of the holy name. He did not know anything about the holy name. He had no real knowledge of the holy name. He simply chanted the name of his son. And so he got the benefit of Namabas. Another example of this Namabas is sometimes the Islamic people will say haram. It means something very undesirable has happened. Like if a Muslim is pierced by the tusk of a boar, you know, the pigs are very dirty and filthy, and to be pierced by the tusk of a boar, then they would say haram. Oh, very terrible, very inauspicious. But because they have said haram, they have called the name of the Lord. The syllables of the holy name are there, and they get the benefit of chanting the holy name. Of course, not the pure name, but Namabas. And that chanting at Namabas destroys sinful reactions. It takes away sin, just like Ajamila. He was a sinful person, but because he was calling Narayan, all of his sins were removed. And the Vishnuduras would not let the Yamaduras arrest him, because they said all of his sins are removed. And so this is the power of Namabas. Of course, now we're in Damodar, the month of Damodar. I explained the other day about just seeing people do devotional activities. Just by seeing them do the devotional activities, 1/6 of the benefit is given to the people. Someone may just observe. They may never chant. They may never do anything, but they hear or they watch. They see the devotees doing Damodar Puja and chanting and bowing down. They don't do anything, but they see, they watch everything. They don't criticize. They don't make any offense. And so they get 1/6 of the benefit of that pious activity. And that can destroy the sins of a lot of people. So in this month of Kartik, the devotees around the world, they're going out and they're encouraging people, you know, offer a candle, and they will even take candles to people's homes, and they will go and sing Damodar song to them and get them to offer the light. because we know this very powerful, that their sinful reactions can be destroyed, and it can help them to develop their Krishna consciousness, which is within everyone. Love of Krishna is within everyone. It is awakened by hearing. So we try to give everyone this opportunity to begin their devotional journey. And it comes, and especially this month, this auspicious month of Kartik. Let people hear the holy name. Let them chant. Let them have some prasadam. Let them offer the lamp to Lord Damodar. This is our business as devotees, to give the holy name, to help to make their life auspicious. Material world is so inauspicious, so horrible, but we can make it pleasant for them by giving the holy name. Okay? Any other? Yes, Prabhu, you have a question?
Yes, regarding the Ajamila, can we relate that to the Jagai and Madai offenses? They were like, they were rascal, they were sinful, they were doing all kinds of nonsense, but they still get the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's because they commit sinful activities, but they never offended the Vaishnava or the devotees. Because they didn't offend the devotees, that's why they get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Would that be correct to say like that? Just like Ajamila?
Well, they did do some offenses. Remember, Lord Nityananda had been attacked. Initially, Lord Nityananda and Haridas had to run away to save themselves from Jagai and Madai. And the second time, when they approached them again, then Lord Nityananda was attacked, and his forehead was injured, and blood was coming from his forehead. And so there was violence committed against Lord Nityananda. And so you cannot say they were not offensive. Certainly they did commit offense. But the mercy of Lord Nityananda is so great. All right? There was this one devotee one time, the devotees told Srila Prabhupada, this devotee's fallen down. He's breaking the regulative principles. And Prabhupada said, you should tell him that I will give him up, I will reject him if he does not stop. And so the devotees asked Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, would you really reject him? And Prabhupada looked at the devotees and said, actually, I can never reject anyone. He said, the mercy of Lord Nityananda is unlimited. So similarly with Jagai and Madhai, they were offensive, but the mercy of Lord Nityananda was so great that they were delivered. And after that incident, of course, they transformed, they changed, and they did do a lot of service. They became very humble, and they served the Vaishnavas. You can go, there's a place in Mayapur, Jagai Ghat. And what happened with Jagai had hit Lord Nityananda, or was it Magai hit Lord Nityananda? Huh? Anyway, Magai, maybe it was Magai, he hit Lord Nityananda, and he came to Lord Nityananda after the incident, and he said, I'm such a sinful person, how can I ever atone for what I've done? And so Lord Nityananda told him, you can just make a place on the Ghat, and when pilgrims come to bathe in Ganga, you can serve them. You can fold their clothes, you can give them massage, you can help them, take care of them. He said, in this way, by serving the Vaishnavas, your sinful reactions will be removed. And so that Ghat is there today. So like that, service to the Vaishnavas is very powerful. Okay, so it's time for Damodar Puja. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Huh? Oh yes, don't, yeah.